Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajim. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Students, the topic now is Chaucer as a representative of his age. So, first of all, we should be clear what or who is a representative. A representative is someone who speaks or does something officially for another person or group of people. According to Oxford Advanced Learners Dictionary, 9th edition, a representative is a person who is typical of a particular group. This is a definition of a representative. And one thing is quite clear that a representative requires a sharp eye for details, a keen understanding of the people, and a brilliant imagination. And so far as Chaucer is concerned, he possessed all these things. Chaucer has populated the Canterbury Tales with a colorful cast of characters whose virtues and flaws ring true even today, hundreds of years later. And he has portrayed his characters quite realistically. Reality is there in his characters. His characters are not supernatural or super human beings. He has given us information about his characters, such as their ages, physical appearances, family and friends, jobs, home, and personal tastes. तो ये सारी चीजें he has even disclosed all the vices, virtues, responses, reactions, different things attached to human beings and society, social values, moral values, educational values, and economic conditions. And so far as psychological values are concerned, so far as moral values are concerned, he has portrayed his characters quite realistically, and his characters belong to ages. That's why Chaucer is also called a modern poet. So we can say poets may describe themselves as such as, or be described as such by others. A poet may simply be a writer of poetry or may perform their art to an audience, according to William Wordsworth, who defines poet in these lines. तो ये विलियम वर्ड्सवर्थ जो था उसके मुताबिक एक पोइट क्या हो सकता है, ये उसकी डेफिनेशन कुछ इस तरह से है कि he is a man speaking to men, a man, it is true, endued with more lively sensibility, more enthusiasm and tenderness, who has a greater knowledge of human nature and a more comprehensive soul than are supposed to be common among mankind, a man pleased with his own passions and volitions, and who rejoices more than other men in the spirit of life that is in him, delighting to contemplate similar volitions and passions as manifested in the goings on of the universe and habitually impelled to create them where he does not find them. Geoffrey Chaucer is one of those writers of English literature who contribute immensely towards uplifting and beautifying the English language in an era or age which is full of transition, activity, socio-political disorder. He is a true representative of his time and society in that he depicts almost every phase of his society, delineated the men and women in a vivid, admirable, and precise manner. He also depicts his social document in the general prologue to the Canterbury Tales with the great faithfulness, the body and soul of the society of his era. The general prologue to the Canterbury Tales is a remarkable piece pertaining to social criticism and history. Dryden, who asserts, Dryden के ये अल्फाज हैं, वो कहता है कि there is God's plenty. Chaucer lives in an age which was epoch making in religious, social, and political planes. The victories of the English army in the continent make Claes an English colony and the nation prosperous. The disasters which come after the victories help in ripening the English mind. Then comes the point to mind, that is Renaissance. Renaissance is also known for its humanism because it arouses interest in the human character. According to Oxford Advanced Learners Dictionary, ninth edition, Oxford University Press 2015, which defines humanism as this is the first quality that is to be observed, that is humanism, a system of thought that considers that solving human problems with the help of reason is more important than religious beliefs. It emphasizes the fact that the basic nature of humans is good. And क्रैम्पटन जो है यहाँ पर एक और क्रिटिक है हमारे पास, Campton Rickett remarks about the Renaissance. There was the leaven of the Renaissance beneath medievalism. Renaissance emphasizes the individual traits which distinguish one man from another. Chaucer imparts individual traits to his characters. They are not made types, but also individuals. The knight stands for heroism and manliness that good knight would always show on the battlefield. But he has been individualized by his prudence. Jurgen of Fustin and all good horse. Of Fustin he will Gaipan, all dismounted with his Habillon. These are line number 75 and 76. ये ओरिजिनल टेक्स्ट में से ही लिया गया है, ठीक है. लाइन नंबर 77 और 76, that is about the knight. So far as his son, the Scare is concerned, his son, the Scare, stands for the type of merry youth interested in singing and playing upon the flute. He also has been individualized by his curly hair, his embroidered cloths, and his short coat with long sleeves. These are once again the lines, line number 89 and 93 from the textbook. Another character of the Oxford clerk is also the type of good scholars, not interested in worldly glory, but in the advancement of knowledge and learning. But Chaucer's Oxford clerk comes as a figure of the individual. By his learning, his hologics, grave look, and his threadbare cloak, Chaucer's lyre seems typical of our own day when he says, "No is so busy a man as he then is, and yet he seemed busier than he was." These are line number 323 and 24 from the original text. तो ये चौसर ने लायर के मतलब जो कहा था, thus the individual characterization in Chaucer is a Renaissance trait. So it is a modern trait in his poetry. Why is Chaucer called modern poet? This is the reason, because he has the qualities that are attached to Renaissance. Chaucer presents in the prologue his different characters from the various classes of the English society of the time, leaving aside the very highest and the very lowest of the English society. His 29 pilgrims represent the whole range of the English nation. The prologue is thus the picture gallery of the 14th century England. Chaucer's portraits are quite realistic. It is with great tolerance and sympathy that he has given a vivid and true picture of the English society. Chaucer discards the fantastic world of dream and reality. He paints his society in a realistic manner and with the great artistic detachment. These make his poem a far greater work of art. Chaucer's age is medieval. Although new trends come to the surface, he has believed in medieval chivalry, which stands for love, heroism, and religion. Chaucer's knight is an example of medieval chivalry. He has been a warrior of 15 battles, fought in defense of Christian shrines. Being the embodiment of chivalric ideals, Chaucer's knight observes utmost courtesy. These are the lines about his courtesy. When we have to say something about the knight's courtesy, these lines are here. He is not only worthy of politeness but also wise in decisiveness. However, one can point out that the spirit of true chivalry breathes its last in the age of Chaucer. The knight, in fact, is a representative of an order which was losing its ground. The true representative of the new order is his young son, the squire, who has as much a taste for rivalry as for chivalry. He is a lover and a lusty bachelor. These are the words that Chaucer used for the scare. So hot he loved that by night trail he slept no more than doth a nightingale. Further, as Chaucer is aware of the weakness of the churchmen and the love of money, corruption, and materialism, so the prologue gives a vivid picture of the church. The monk, the friar, the summoner, the pardoner, and the prioress are examples of the corrupt clergy. They neglect their duties. First of all, there is a monk who cares only for hunting and good cheer. His bald head shines like glass, his bright eyes roll in his head. He rides a sleek brown palfrey and has many a dainty horse in his stables. His sleeves are trimmed with fine fur at the wrists. His hood is fastened under his chin with a gold love knot. As a companion figure to the hunting mock, Chaucer gives us Madame Eglantine, the prioress. She looks more refined in her manners and religious duties than she actually is. So far as the friar is concerned, the friar uses the gift of the gap to knock out money from the people. The barter makes money by selling pardons to the sinners. All these characters, except the poor person, show how the churchmen had become depraved. These characters indicate that various drawbacks had crept into the church. तो ये लाइन जो है ये बहुत important है. These characters indicate that various drawbacks had crept into the church. What kind of characters? All these characters, those who belong to the church. Here it starts. We know we have ecclesiastical characters in Chaucer's prologue to the Canterbury Tales, and here he has exposed all these characters and he has represented his age, how corruption was ruling in the church. The physicians represent the medical profession of the 14th century. In those times, astronomy, or rather astrology, is an important element in the training of a medical man. The medieval theory of disease is that they were due to the particular combinations of stars and planets which affected the human body. These lines are very important. ये यहाँ से लेकर अगर ये पूछा जाए कि how they treated diseases, so ये lines हैं, the medieval theory of diseases that they were due to the particular combination of stars and planets which affected the human body. So the doctor of medicine makes a pile of money during a great plague. These are lines written about the physician. In the prologue and the Canterbury Tales, one does get an accurate picture of English social life in the 14th century. The trading and artisan classes gain prominence in this age. The new industries of silk and glass making are becoming quite popular. A class of merchants acquires prominence as the middleman between craftsmen and consumers. Chaucer has given an important place to the merchant. The merchant is a typical representative of his age. This is very important. The merchant is a typical representative of his age. One thing should be clear that all the characters that Chaucer has represented are typical representatives of their age. He always talks about the increase in his income and knows well how to make money in the marketplace. The other classes of craftsmen, namely the haberdasher, the carpenter, the weaver, and the dyer, are also fairly prosperous. Their good clothes and equipment show that they are not only respectable in their looks but also economically stable. Chaucer in the prologue has given a vivid picture of the commercial classes as well. The prologue is a cross section of the 14th century society, which consists of three main classes: that of the knight, representing the medieval. This is underlined already. तो ये knight जो है, he is a representative of chivalry, medieval chivalry. That of the clergy, representing the church, and that of the workers. One thing, there are three main classes. One is medieval chivalry, the second is clergy, and the third is workers. In the prologue, Chaucer paints a national portrait gallery with some of 30 odd characters who, by and large, constitute the society of his time. Except for loyalty and the lowest step of the ladder of English society, the prologue is a complete representation of the ranks and professions of English medieval society, with the church and the state as its principal pillars. The prologue has a documentary value because it is possible to reconstruct the life of the 14th century society from it. However, Chaucer has avoided references to any of the following political and sociological events because he was not writing the history of his periods, like the struggle of the House of Lancaster, the Wycliffe movement, the democratization of England, the Anglo-French Wars, the Peasants' Revolt, the rise of English nationalism, and the Black Death. The clerk of Oxford represents the new intellectual culture. So far as the clerk of Oxford is concerned, so he is a representative of the new intellectual culture. He is an Oxford scholar who prefers 20 books of Aristotle's philosophy to gay clothes and musical instruments. And these are the lines from the prologue to the Canterbury Tales that are written about the clerk of Oxenford. To sum up, one can say that Chaucer is the perfect exponent of his age, and his poetry reflects the 14th century, as Matthew Arnold is rightly said, that with him is born our real poetry. तो अगर चौसर के हवाले से ये क्वेश्चन पूछा जाए कि राइट अ नोट ऑन चौसर एज अ रिप्रेजेंटेटिव ऑफ हिज एज, so you know he has picturized and he has portrayed different characters here in the prologue to the Canterbury Tales. He has dealt with the three main classes of the society. One is medieval chivalry, the second one is the clergy, and the third one is the working class. How they were going on, what were their conditions, what were their beliefs, and what were their religious values, what were their social values, what were their moral statuses, and all these things that are connected to these characters, that are attached to these characters. Chaucer has successfully represented all these characters in his prologue to the Canterbury Tales, so far as their you can say their reactions, their professions are concerned, their physical appearances are concerned, so far as their learning is concerned, so far as their knowledge is concerned, so far as their own values are concerned, so far as their stature is concerned. Chaucer has portrayed his characters quite truly according to the need of the time he was living in. And he has universalized these characters as well. Basically, he has exposed corruption that was found in clergy, in ecclesiastical class, that was found in the church. And on the other hand, he has also portrayed, you can say, very wonderful character known as the knight, who is the representative of medieval chivalry. And so far as the working class is concerned, the working class was making progress tremendously during the time of Chaucer. They were gaining a lot, they were getting a lot of money, they were earning a lot of money, they were getting prosperous day and night. And so, ये different questions जो related to his representation of the age are concerned. तो वो उनमें से अगर कहीं भी कोई सवाल एज अ रिप्रेजेंटेटिव हो, तो एज अ रिप्रेजेंटेटिव हाउ मेनी क्लासेस वर डेल्ट बाय चॉसर, वो भी यहाँ पे मौजूद है। व्हाट वर देयर फिलोसफीज, वो भी यहाँ पर है। व्हाट वर देयर अपीयरेंसेस, ये भी हम जानते हैं। तो ऑल दीज थिंग्स आर हियर इन दिस क्वेश्चन। थैंक यू सो मच।